Hi, my name is Eric, welcome back to my channel. Let's talk once again about Charli XCX. She just released her brand new album, How I'm Feeling Now, and I'm here to give it my first reaction and to break down the album's lyrics. If you haven't been keeping up with the creation of this album, basically Charli decided that if she was going to be stuck at home, she'd might as well make some music, so almost this entire album was created while in isolation. As far as singles go, I've already listened to Forever and Claws, and they are two of my favorite songs released this year, but I held off on listening to I Finally Understand because I wanted the experience to be fresh when I made this video. Before I dive into the reaction, let me know in the comments down below what your favorite Charli XCX song is. Please subscribe to be here when I post new videos every week and hit the bell icon to be notified when my videos go live. Without further ado, track number 1 is Pink Diamond. I love the production already. Oh my gosh.
I just wanna go real hard. I just wanna go real hard. Pink diamond in the dark. I just wanna go real hard. I just wanna go real hard. Video jack, you skirt and a bra. I'm feeling so fine, kinda feeling like a suck. Gonna give you good views. Watch me.
Ooh, I like that rapid fire delivery.
Yeah, I just wanna go real hard. I just wanna go real hard. Pink diamond
Ooh.
in the dark. I just wanna go real hard. I just wanna go real hard.
It's almost like ominous.
For days, I just wanna feel it in different ways. I just wanna go real hard. I just wanna go real hard.
Full like techno UK bass vibes, incredible. It's very chaotic and noisy, but so fun. Wow. It's almost like it's a threat. Love this distorted breakdown. That was so unexpected. After hearing how bright and upbeat and lovey-dovey the singles are, that was not expected at all, but so distinctly Charli, very PC music. This is really another song like Next Level Charli, where she is pumping up her audience. It's sort of like an anthem or a mission statement. In the past, she's talked about having synesthesia and how music evokes a color reaction to her, and the music that she likes to listen to and that she likes to make is pink. So the pink diamond is sort of like an encapsulation of her identity and her aesthetic. And another part of this mission statement aspect of the song is the sort of collage of images that she has that are very closely tied to her brand. So she has like lip gloss, partying, stardom, things like that. One line that I really enjoyed was, "Got a tiny bag, but I got a big heart." The image of the tiny bag being this dainty, wealthy socialite who you might assume is superficial, but part of her identity she's implying is that she has that image and she embraces that luxury, but she still is deeper than that. So I think what this track is doing is, this is her saying, this is your image of me, this is your first assumption of me, now I'm going to let you in and tell you how I'm feeling now. And this leads perfectly into track number 2, Forever. Okay, so now the distortion makes more sense too, leading in from the last song. I like how the fuzz almost feels like a storm, like a thunderclap. And those warm, clear synths coming in, so perfect. Love that little glitch on her voice. So many great production details. So sweet. Those pulsing vocal effects in the background, just so warm, so romantic and nostalgic. I love the texture and the distortion and those almost like screeching synths. Love it. So sweet, so warm, so romantic. Just a perfect song for her boyfriend. And of course, in classic Charli fashion, she incorporates a cars and driving motif. So in the first verse, she talks about taking a leap with her boyfriend, for love and risking heartbreak. And she conveys that with the image of driving the car for miles. That's the relationship. The long haul. On the pre-chorus, she talks about needing to let things go, driving the car off the road to give her partner time to grow. So of course, whereas staying in the relationship, staying in the course was staying on the road, taking a break from the relationship is driving off the road. So I really enjoy that consistency and carrying that metaphor through to tell the story, basically, of this moment in the relationship. Much of the rest of the song is really straightforward and tender and wistful. I love the detail on the second verse about reminiscing and looking back on old photos. It brings to mind again the sort of idea of the long road, really seeing a future with this person. This is just such a sweet song, and it works, I think, even better after that opener, sort of coming down from that intensity and that celebration. But I think it also gives the song sort of more of that homegrown DIY feeling of, the entire concept of this album. Track number 3 is Claws.
Like your mind, like your smile, like your eyes, I could die. Aeroplane, you are so fly, so nice. I like everything about you. I like everything about you. Wanna know, wanna go. I'm not shy, make you sigh. I like everything about you.
It maintains that sweetness, but also has that harder production and more of like sass to it. I love this. Oh my gosh. I love that so much. Dylan Brady's production on this song is just freaking incredible. This song is such a banger. I have listened to it so many times since it came out. I just love it. Admittedly, I don't want to stretch the lyrics out too far in my interpretation, but there are some great trademark Charli puns in there. Fly like an airplane, high like a roller coaster, switch sides like a Gemini. Again, it's that sort of synesthetic sensibility of the opener. She uses another collage of images that share this sleek, glossy, metallic texture and add up to this tactile world that the song lives in, and that nicely matches Dylan Brady's production. And that production, of course, is what connects Charli as a pop star to the PC music and hyperpop world, and what I think elevates this song even more for me. Track number 4 is 7 Years.
so hard. Things that we've been through. Could have fallen, but we only grow.
I like how her voice came to the front out of that vocoder effect. That was very cool. This is more spacious, more simple like the cover. This kind of reminds me of Myrrh, who she's collaborated with before. Why be baby when you can be wife? This is almost like an anniversary song. That's really cute. And a really cohesive sound across these songs, too. Wow. Okay, the shape of the song I think was super effective and will make that kind of an addictive re-listen, because we had that kind of sparse beginning with the vocoder and her voice just barely coming through, and then a super, super punchy chorus that built and built, but it sort of tapered off after the bridge. And I don't mean like it became less exciting to listen to because the production was so beautiful, but it really made me want to return to the sort of euphoria of the chorus hitting that first time. So I am definitely going to be returning to that track. This is the third song in a row about her relationship, which makes sense because she has been isolating with her boyfriend, so of course he dominated her thoughts. Part of the candidness and introspection of this album is how diaristic and immediate the lyrics are, because she's basically just telling us the story of the relationship and where they are now. On the first verse, she talks about things at the beginning of their relationship that threatened it, and then on the chorus she says 7 years later they're solid. And then on the second verse she has that really cute line about how she feels like she's his wife even though they aren't actually married. It's just more of that soul bond idea. I can definitely see 7 Years being a highlight and a fan favorite on this album, and I'm very interested to see how she carries the story through the next few songs. Track number 5 is called Detonate. Ooh. Some nice variety, but like I said, it's very cohesive. Okay, So there are some issues here in the relationship. Very confessional and introspective. For a pretty, like, aggressive song title, the song is really gentle and soft and warm. Ooh, speeding up, okay. Okay, ooh. Oh, that was weird. Okay, there was a little, like, bomb timer noise and then, like, a fizzle. Interesting. I mean, I think it would be a bit unsubtle to end the song on, like, an explosion sound, but I think that was a nice in-between. It almost feels like she's carried over from where she was on, like, White Mercedes and Official on Charli, but those songs, I think, production-wise, were a little bit more on the accessible side. She is mediating quite nicely the warmth and poppiness of those songs and the more adventurous production of the other songs. And we're around the middle of the album, so it's natural that this is where she'd get emo. She talks about building walls around herself. I think she says she does it in her sleep, which suggests that she's doing it subconsciously. And then on the chorus, she talks about pushing people away as a defense mechanism. And that's the detonation. She is a self-destructive ticking time bomb. So I think it also makes sense that the bomb didn't explode at the end of the song, because that would probably be the relationship ending. Maybe her boyfriend is like one of those bomb technicians and cut the right wire and now they're okay. And then on the outro, she repeatedly asks, "Do you love me?" So she has pushed him away and now is pulling him back, and we leave with the question unanswered and unresolved. Track number 6 is Enemy. Sort of 80s sounds. She has such a great sense for rhythm. Okay, she's warming up and letting her guard down. I think this one especially is a nice balance of pretty mainstream production and then some PC music weirdness. That was fun. I think that'll definitely be a track that I'll want to listen to again with headphones, because there are some subtleties that I just can't catch playing through my laptop speakers. And I've gotta say, the emotional story of this album is really cohesive, which I would imagine can be attributed at least in part to the fact that most of these songs were written in such a short time period. It really is sort of a recollection of a moment of how she was feeling at one particular time. So Charli picks up from the last song and keeps with this characterization of herself as being afraid of vulnerability. So on Detonate, she said that she had trouble letting people in because she was worried that they would hurt her. And now that she's fully in this relationship, 7 years into this relationship, the feeling is creeping up again. She's playing off the expression, keep your friends close and your enemies closer, but wondering if how close her boyfriend is basically a threat to her. Would a betrayal by someone she is so close to hurt even more than a betrayal by someone who she doesn't know all that well? Or rather, someone who doesn't know her all that well. But this turns around on the second verse when she actually lets herself sort of let go and embrace the intimacy of her relationship with her boyfriend, and she allows him to access her romantically and emotionally. And just a possible subtle connection between tracks here is when she says that she has a cold exterior but a nervous interior, possibly in the same way that on the opener, she had a small bag but a big heart. She knows that personally and publicly she can come off as cool and confident, but that's not reflective of what's going on inside her head. Track number 7 is I Finally Understand. Oh, she's taken her walls down. She still has that doubt. Relatable. Ooh. Really fun, glitchy production. I love how the song always feels like it's moving. It's like a highway or like a light rail or something like that. I really like the sort of sleek metropolitan vibe of that song. A lot of the songs feel sort of synthetic and glossy and metallic, like I've talked about, but that texture is mediated nicely with the sort of warmth of like the home or of like the cover where she shows herself in bed, where a lot of this album takes place. She talks about on the first verse the walls that she has built over the last few tracks falling, but specifically she talks about them melting. So obviously they were made of ice. It's just another aspect of this cold exterior that she had built up as a defense mechanism. And while it sounds like the realization here is that she is secure in the relationship and she can be vulnerable, she actually says that the realization is that this love might kill her. She's still stuck in the mindset of those last couple tracks, but she's working on it. She goes to therapy, she lets her boyfriend hold her while she cries, and most importantly, she accepts his love. So she hasn't shaken her trust issues completely, but she's getting there. Track number 8 is C 2.0, which apparently is the sequel to Click, so I am very excited about that. Okay, we already have a sample of the distortion from the end of Click. It almost feels like a midpoint between Click and Forever. Very interesting. Yes, more distortion. I love it. It's like ASMR. Right now it's mostly a remix. Oh, and it actually feels like clicking. That's really cool. Okay, we've got a new verse. Oh, she made Click sad. No! Oh, it's so good though. She misses her Click. That's so sweet. If you had told me last year that there would be a sequel to Click, or really another sequel to Click, and it would be sad, I would not have believed you. But the effect is so sweet, and it's quarantine specific, obviously. She talks about her and her boyfriend being together during the day, and then she would go with her friends at night. And of course now, she can't do that. She says her Click runs through her mind like a rainbow, so the color, the excitement of the Click was basically painted onto the blank canvas of her white sheets, of her home life. So now that she can't see her friends anymore, some of the color has been drained from her life. And it also makes sense then that there are no features because her Click's not around, she is alone. That was just such a clever inclusion on this album, very unexpected. Track number 9 is Party For You, and this song has been very heavily hyped up among Charli fans, and I would imagine it's for good reason, but I really wanted to give you my first reaction, so I've resisted the urge to listen to earlier versions of this song. I can imagine like a music video or like a concert set piece with, you know, hundreds of pink balloons. That would be super cool. In context, this song feels so much sadder than it would otherwise. Sort of has that dancing on my own sensibility of loneliness in this very social setting. Oh, and the noise of the crowd. I bet she misses that. What's interesting about this song is that even outside of the self-isolation context, the idea of it would be very interesting. I threw this party hoping that you'd show up, but you didn't. But now this is almost like a message for anyone and everyone. No one's coming to the party. And the idea on the first verse of throwing a party for someone in August when their birthday was in June sort of brings to mind the disruptions of self-isolation. You can't celebrate life events the same way that you would otherwise. And waiting by the window isn't just waiting for your crush to show up, it's waiting until you can go outside too. Of course, this is a pre-COVID Charli track, but it just works so well in this context, I think it was perfect to put it on this album. Track number 10 is Anthems. Okay, that's very tonally different. I'm so bored. gassed up like a Texaco. Certified banger. I love the production. I'm going to be listening to the song so much. Yes. Got that trance feeling going on. So unexpected. Definitely a highlight though. I love that aggressive production. What's so interesting is that this is probably one of the most explicitly quarantine-related songs on the album. She lists out the mundanities of her day-to-day life, and they're just, in the lyrics, so boring. She talks about making cereal. I mean, there are a lot of things more exciting than cereal. I like cereal, but it's not, a rave. And then she pairs it with these rave sounds. So she's sort of performing that distance between what she wants to be doing. She wants to be raving. She wants to be, headbanging or whatever, and making cereal. That's the highlight of her day, not, getting dressed up to go out and, have a good time. But what works especially well is that it's not actually COVID specific. She's not using COVID buzzwords. She's not talking about wearing, PPE or masks. She's not talking about social distancing. She's talking about isolation very generally. So while this will bring us back to this moment in the future, this can be about really any type of isolation and loneliness. The idea of the title of the song then is these anthems are celebration. She wants to go out there and celebrate being with friends, celebrate freedom, and she just doesn't have that right now. But then on the chorus, she adds another dimension to that by saying, when it's over, we might be even closer. It's wistful but optimistic, specific but universal, and that's why I think this song works so well. Alright, the final track, track number 11, is Visions. I can tell this is gonna be really weird. She misses that contact, that closeness. See, this is the celebration. This is a really fitting closer. Thought we were getting a drop. We didn't get a drop. It's unresolved, right? She's waiting for the drop. She's waiting for that satisfaction, that fulfillment. Yes! I was not expecting this at all. Oh, it is so satisfying. Ooh, okay. We're keeping the beat going. Okay, this is kind of like her doing in the song what she wants to do in isolation. This is her partying through her music. Ooh, that's odd. I like that. We have almost the echo of the beat in the background, like we're just standing outside the club. Wow. And that is how the album ends. It almost felt like that sound intruding on the rave synths was like, almost like an alarm. Like the fire alarm that clears out the club and now you're standing in the cold on the street, or your alarm waking you up in the morning from a great dream. I know it's not exactly that, but that intrusiveness leaves us unsettled. It leaves us knowing that this wish to be reunited with her friends hasn't been fulfilled. Like the visions and the voices that she talks about are her imagining being reunited with the people she loves when she can leave the house again. And she imagines the feeling of holding them again. They are so close, it's like they're right there. In a way, it emulates the moment that the quarantine is lifted, she runs out her front door, someone she's been waiting to see is standing there and she runs into their arms, and we are experiencing the end of this album right before they meet. So it's unresolved and sad in that way, but it's also hopeful because it's an inevitability. So overall, I am so impressed by this album. I was not expecting her to take this direction at all. It does so much of what I love about Charli's music. First of all, those rave synths, the sort of trance music. It's something that I return to Delicious a lot for, those synths at the end of the song. She does a lot of that on this album, which I was not expecting for something that was supposed to feel so domestic and confined. But she balances that nicely with some less accessible PC music production by people like A.G. Cook and Dylan Brady, as well as some poppier, more accessible production. She takes a lot of risks and does weird things with rhythm and with lyrics. She writes lyrics that are very instinctual. They feel like first draft lyrics in a good way, you know, first thought, best thought. She just wanted to get it out there, and it has that feeling of urgency. It doesn't have that sort of manicured pop pristineness. I think the compactness allows it to be more cohesive than Charli. Charli had some more variety, but this album really is so thoughtful in its lyrical motifs and production motifs, its consistency and closeness and intimacy, while also retaining the fun that we come to Charli's music for. I am so happy with how this album turned out, and I cannot wait to listen to it again. So please let me know in the comments down below if you have any other requests for music I should react to, and please subscribe to be here when I post new videos every week. Thank you so much for being here. I hope you are staying safe and healthy, and until next time, that's it.